This video was sponsored by Enhance, Elbilmek, a bit road planner, Kempower and bilkomponenter.
Yo, what's up? Today we're going to do a Sunday drive of the Kia EV3 Long Range. This is front wheel drive. Should be the most efficient EV3, right? And also the tires. We have Hankook Ion Evo. Huh? I've never seen that before. Yeah, so okay, maybe there are more aerodynamic rims out there, I'm not sure. But we're sure that we charge the car to 100% and then we just reset everything. I will actually include the kindergarten run also in the Sunday drive. It's kind of late now, already 9:19. Man, all the kids are already out playing. But okay, here. What is important is that car scanner reports 78.1 kilowatt hour. Huh? That's higher than I had before yesterday when I charged it up. So seems like it's somewhat random how much you get there. The battery is actually colder than yesterday. But okay, whatever. Let's do all the preparation and then off we go. We just passed Mora and as usual, we cruise at 80 kilometers per hour. That's the speed limit here. GPS speed is 78 kilometers per hour. I can check here. Okay, it needs to. But 79 or even 78. Yeah. So yeah, we go a little bit under the speed limit. That's just typical Sunday driver. Outside temperature is 9 degrees Celsius. Not that hot yet. It's still the beginning of May. But I have no fans, so I don't run HVAC at all. Yeah, remember that no fan is always better than only fans. So I also see here cabin temperature is 16.5. It might go up in the day now, we'll see. But as usual, we drive the same route now via Roa and then Gjøvik and that whole thing. Oh yeah, you know one thing with the other cars in the past, the other Korean cars, they have a knob where you can twist to zoom in and out. Here seems like the knob has been removed. You have some temp over here and fan speed, and this is just volume, and it's hard to see, hard to use it. I slip on the volume control unless I use some liquid. Yeah, then it's better. But it should be more rubberized maybe. But this is interesting. The current range now on GOM is 299 kilometers, and then it claims that maximum is 722. Well, can you tell me how I can achieve that, please? But right now the GOM is the same as the minimum, so it seems like I've been hammering it. Yes, I did the 1,000 kilometer challenge. Guilty as fully charged. We are now at Gjøvik. Wait, they have recharge charger over there now, and of course supercharger. Okay. Anyway, yeah, Strandtorget. No, this is not Strandtorget. It's CC Martin. But consumption right now is 144 watt hour per kilometer. That's roughly the same as the Audi A6 e-tron Quattro, you know, with 460 horsepower. Really? I thought this would be more efficient, maybe be down to 120 or 110 watt hour per kilometer. So I'm not sure why the car is somewhat thirsty, because we actually had tailwind until now, roughly, and we get especially strong tailwind on this direction, but we also get slight tailwind on the way back. So this is a bit cheating, you know. But Kia, Bjørn, cheating? Come on, it's fine, it's fine. So you can see Mjøsen over here. Looks nice today. Not that much wind around Gjøvik. But okay, it's a bit cold for a Sunday drive. Only 11 degrees over here. It was 9 degrees earlier. So yeah, the lower temperature at least affects drag. But then since we don't run any heater here, then we don't care about that part, right? We are now at Circle K Ringebu. It's over there. And yeah, the first thing I check now is distance. According to Google, it's supposed to be 208 kilometers. This car reports 204.6. So if I count now, it's supposed to be 1.6% error. But maybe the waypoints are a few hundred meters off. Whatever, that's the ballpark. So from now, we'll drive up the mountain around here. Wait, we can't see the road. What? How far do you have to zoom in? There, now it's starting the road. Okay. I'm gonna go roughly there first. I'm gonna set that as a waypoint, and then you calculate, and then start route. But the consumption, okay, it's only 144 watt-hour per kilometer. We are gone uphill, but we had mostly tailwind now, so it is slightly higher than expected. But also, yeah, it's not that warm. Only 9 degrees out here. We are now at Venebigsfjellet. It is cold and windy over here, 4 degrees Celsius. We are down to 53% now. But let me go outside. Let's check out. Oh shit! That is massive wind. You know what? We are going this direction soon, so we'll be riding on a tailwind. But I just have to stop here to make a nice thumbnail of the car. Oh, look at this, huh? A little bit of off-roading also. Let me show you something cool here. When you fire up the car, not the freaking annoying feature that always turns on the music. I muted the music. When you power off, it should remember that state so that when we power on the car again, it doesn't play the music. That's silly, man. Yeah, I know you can then set it to always mute the music, but that's kind of silly. But look here, when you put the car in reverse, the backup camera is so nice and sharp, and also high update, or I mean high frequency, high frame rate. But wait, if you go forward, you get the forward camera. Wow, you can totally go off-roading with this car. Like a boss. Okay, anyway, let's stop dicking around. Proceed with the route. Well, isn't that the most beautiful backup camera image ever? We are getting close to Atna, and over here we have these narrow Norwegian roads without middle road markings, and the auto steer doesn't work here. Well, actually, I've seen it sometimes. It randomly works, but then the car wants to drive in the middle of the road. So in comparison, 1 week ago I drove the Audi A6 on the exact same route, and in the Audi it actually works. It stayed on the right side here, and it drew an imaginary line there, right? Something to know where it's supposed to stay. But here, no, it just fails to work. So does this mean that German tech is better than Korean tech? Yeah, seems like it. All right, so now we are arrived at the Highway 3. This is the Østerdal, and then consumption so far is 149 watt-hour per kilometer. Okay. From here we'll have slight tailwind, and then lots of downhill. Well, not massive downhill, but some downhill on the way back to Yes home. So yeah, we'll see. Will we end up with around 140 watt-hour per kilometer? But we are already down to 49%, and then also the state of charge scale here is not linear, so it's more like 45% left right now. We are now at Strand. We're done 436 kilometers. Consumption is 144 before correction, so I'm gonna take a little pee break here.
Yeah, normally I stop earlier, but today I feel like stretching it over here. So I like it here because we just have a pit stop right by the highway with some toilets here. No need to go anywhere long detours. And yeah, we are still 50 kilometers away from Yes home, but we have only 100 kilometers left on GOM. What? That means 550 kilometers of range then? Huh? That's it? Okay, let me see. Park over here. Gonna show you guys some cool toilets here. I've shown this many years ago when I drove the Kona range test, but let's see. Here, oh, look at this, look at this. You can take a dump while enjoying some nice view over Mjøsa. Huh? How many other places can you do that? Well, it's nice weather over here, but not that warm. Only 13 degrees Celsius. So you can see the EV3 out in the sunshade. I mean, in the sun, I mean. But it seems to be longer than the classic Soul, or e-Soul. Maybe similar to e-Niro. I talked to a guy in a live stream. He's replacing his e-Niro with EV3. So maybe that's the target for many people. Okay, anyway, let's proceed. And the battery temperature stayed fairly stable during this trip. 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. It dropped to 11, I think, at the coldest, and then it went up a bit because we went uphill. So yeah, we have 14.9 kilowatt hour left. So given the consumption now of 144 watt hour per kilometer, we can go a little bit over 100 kilometers then. Yeah, so GOM here, yeah, it sounds about right. But that means around 550 kilometers then after correction. Huh? That's it? This car has 608 kilometers of VLTP range. How the heck do you achieve that? It's 15 degrees Celsius right now. Well, based on what I see on Mjøsa now, it seems like we have headwind. Yeah. So I noticed that we actually had headwind from Elbilmek, actually before Elbilmek. So I was wrong about the wind. Yeah, it's supposed to turn into wind from the north in the afternoon, evening. So yeah, well, so it means that it's a fair run. We get some tailwind and then some headwind on the way back. And then here you can see that the HVAC has been off through the whole test. And then here it has stats. Yeah, so driving takes 96%, and then electronics 4%, and then climate and battery care, which is preheating or cooling, is zero. We are now home in the garage, and so far we have driven 489.4 kilometers with 48 kilometers left on GOM. Consumption 145 watt hour per kilometer. Wait, sending data to Korea. Yeah, they are watching you. But yeah, so you can see here car scanner. 7.3 kilowatt hour left. So now is the afternoon rush hour where we need to feed the kids and, you know, eventually shower and get ready. So since we have so little left, I think we can do the final run tonight, and I will actually combine that with the 0 mile test. So then we'll see again after letting the car sit in the garage, how much do we lose here versus the it was the Audi e-tron, yeah, well, Audi A6 e-tron. But this is only going to be a, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hour break maybe. It is the next morning now. Yeah, I thought about going out yesterday, but I was just too tired. But now that we start the car, we still have 11% here. But interesting, car scanner reports exact same energy as yesterday. The battery did cool down a little bit. It was 16 to 17 degrees Celsius. But you see, in this case here, we didn't lose anything. But then in the Audi A6 e-tron's case, overnight it lost around 450 watt hour. Well, that's a big mystery. But okay, I'm going to go to the kindergarten soon. It's getting close to 9 now. But then I think I will camp at home. I need to do a banana box test first, and then I will finish the Sunday drive. But the banana box test doesn't require the car to be on. We are now driving the final loop now. 514 kilometers done. Going back and forth here before we actually go all the way to 0 to see how many kilowatt hour we get out of the battery, and also how far we can drive. So today it's nice weather, that's good, but not that warm, 11 degrees Celsius only, and it's windy outside. All right, this is it, the end of the test. So we have power limited 0%, 0 kilometer. Let me see if I do this. Yeah, you see. Yeah, and then it pops back with a chime, which is annoying, man. But okay, anyway, we managed to drive 532.4 kilometers, and then consumption 145, but this is before 1.6% underreported distance correction. And then just to verify also here, in car scanner, it says 0% there. Well, there's still more below 0 buffer, but we don't count that in this test. And the remaining energy is now down to 0 watt hour. So that's it, the car is dead-ish. So yeah, this time I measured 77.2 kilowatt hour, and I think that's roughly on par with the spec. And this car has even done, 17,000 kilometers. Maybe there's slight degradation here. But yeah, so the consumption corrected is 142 watt hour per kilometer. So yeah, that means that the range is not that great, but it was considered a cold-ish run. So yeah, you can see that the average temperature on this run was lower than many of the other runs. So but roughly in the middle there when it comes to range, and also slightly disappointing that we couldn't reach the VLTP. Yeah, I checked again, the VLTP is supposed to be 601 kilometers, this is 605, but that's close enough. But I mean, how are you going to achieve it? You have to drive at 20 or 25 degrees Celsius to achieve it. But there is even some cars with cold-ish runs that manage to go quite far, you know, and achieve VLTP. And you see that most other cars, they can get roughly 10-15% more than VLTP even. So, you know, I feel like the range here might be slightly optimistic. So just bear that in mind maybe. Or maybe this car, because it's somewhat boxy, it has a drag coefficient of 0.26 something, maybe it's more affected by cold weather, and then the consumption goes more up. And then as long as you drive in 20 degrees Celsius, then you can achieve VLTP, right? But the VLTP test cycle is so difficult. I think most people, they cannot replicate it the way the VLTP is supposed to, you know, accelerate, decelerate, stop, and then, you know, do all that stuff. But at least my test is something like more of a real world, just a cruising along the motorway or the Landstrasse, Bundesstrasse. So anyway, I think that's gonna be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.